Hello everybody, my name is ProfRich, and here we are today talking about deduction with past modals in the context of IELTS speaking preparation. I have a lovely creamy coffee here today. It's got so much cream in it. I'm like a barrel of cream. That made no sense, but you get the idea. It's a creamy coffee. And we're getting energetic to talk about world mysteries with one of my favorite grammar points, which is past modals of deduction, which will get you a good score in the IELTS speaking exam because it is classed as a complex grammar structure if used correctly. And today, we're going to talk about how to use it correctly. So, without further ado, let us begin with an IELTS style question. IELTS speaking exam style question. No, sorry. We're going to begin by asking past, present, or future for modals of deduction. So, I will show you 10 sentences of modals of deduction, and I want to know, does it talk about the past, the present, or the future? Type your answers in the chat right now. And also do smash that like button. It's a good time to do it, folks, at the very start or at the very end. Pallavi says Christmas is for Christians, right? Not entirely, Pallavi. Christmas is the extension of a pagan celebration called Yuletide, which has been celebrated for thousands of years all over the world. And it's known in the present day as the winter solstice. However, in the form of Christmas, yes, it is Christian, but many people celebrate Christmas without the Christian element, which is why I'm doing a stream on Oxford Online English to talk about what is the Christian element of Christmas. I have spoke in the past about the pagan elements of Christmas. I did that last year and the year before. I spoke about the pagan and the history of Christmas, and we're going to talk about the Christian elements of Christmas on the 23rd of December on Oxford Online English. Anawat and Manuel already got their answers in. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Present, past and future. For sentences 1 to 6, which of these refer to the present? Which of them refer to the past? And which of them refer to the future? Answers in the chat, folks. Smash that like button right now. There's 10 people who haven't done it. If you're here, if you're enjoying this stream, hit that like button. And please do take part in our chat so I can interact with you. Season's greetings, says Meow Meow. Yeah, okay. I prefer Happy Christmas myself. Even if you're not Christian. I mean, particularly because, you know, when Eid comes around, everybody says Eid Mubarak, yeah, Mubarak. You know, nobody says spring greetings for Eid, right? Or whatever. So if people are saying Eid Mubarak and they're not Muslim, then I think Happy Christmas is the correct way of wishing someone a Happy Christmas. So let's go for it. Happy Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas. My voice is echoing. Thank you for telling me that, Julia. I think I know why that is. Is it still echoing? Can you tell me? Dr. Archu, we don't see much of you anymore. How's it going? Good to see you there. All right, so here's your answers, folks. It must be raining is the present. He must have forgotten about it is the past. You must come to the party is the future. She might have been at home is the past. We might be in trouble is the present. And it couldn't have been very good is the past. So there's your answers right there. You can see those on the screen right now. Merry Christmas, Elena. And let's move on. So we have an IELTS topic card. Who likes IELTS topic cards, folks? IELTS topic cards are for part 2 of the IELTS speaking exam. So here's an IELTS topic card. I'd like you to take a look at this topic card, and then I want you to type your answer or parts of your answer in the chat. You can find the chat over there on PC or down there on mobile devices. Type your answers in the chat. Describe an unusual place you visited. You should say where it was. What did you find unusual about it? Or why did you think such places are interesting to visit? If you're watching this video after the live stream, first of all, hello, and smash that like button, Daisy. And please type your answer to this in the comments down below. How would you answer this? And I will reply and give you some correction. By the way, later in our class, we will be correcting our English homework. Every Saturday, I give English homework live on stream, and then we give feedback on the homework which has been sent to me via our Discord. If you want more information on that, you can ask Manuel Gordillo in the chat, and he'll sort you out. He's a tech expert. Sorry, I made a mistake. I meant to say don't ask Manuel Gordillo. If you want help with that, just ask Julia Qatar. She's a tech expert. Happy Christmas, says Zulkifi. Hello there, Zulkifi Jamil. How are you doing? And well done, you got those correct. Good job. Wonderful coffee cup background and sweater. Well, thank you, Meow Meow. Actually, I have a real funky shirt on today. A real funky one. But it's really cold. I tell you what. If we get 30 likes, 30 likes on this stream, I will remove my sweater or jumper, if you prefer the British English. I will remove my jumper if we get 30 likes. And you can see my funky shirt. It's a real funky one. So smash that like button if you want to see my funky shirt. So type your answers right now to this IELTS question. This is an IELTS Task 2 speaking question. Describe an unusual place you visited. You should say where it was. What did you find unusual about it, and why you think such places are interesting to visit? And we're starting here with Alexander K. He says, I'd like to talk about a place I visited, and that's Cairo. That city has got a beautiful river that runs through the city, and the spectacular view is second to none. Nice language there, Alexander. I like that. The spectacular view is second to none. Take note, everybody. The spectacular view is second to none. Manuel says, 3 years ago, I was traveling to Spain. When I was driving, my eye was caught by, a little town in Logroño caught my eye, Manuel. So you need to flip the subject there. So the town caught my eye. Logroño caught my eye. I used to know someone in the past who had a little joke about Logroño. Every time I said Logroño, she said, I'm not going to say it. Oh, Spanish people and your sense of humor. I was a bit curious. I was curious about what I might have seen. Says Manuel Gordillo. But this town's located on the summit of a mountain, yes. Meow Meow says, I once visited the catacombs of Paris, a vast underground burial site. The unusual aspect was the intricate arrangement of human skulls and bones, forming macabre patterns throughout the tunnels. You know, Meow Meow, you do indeed talk a bit like Pavia. I can see why people thought that you were Pavia in disguise. Forming macabre patterns. That is a Pavia phrase. Pavia phrase. Yes, in the past, people were quite macabre, weren't they? Especially with skulls and whatnot. All right, thank you for your contributions on this one. We're going to do another one. So here's our second IELTS topic card. Oh, I should give you a model answer, right? Okay, before we move on, let's get our model answer. This is your model answer from ProfRich, okay? 9.0 IELTS, here we come. You ready? I'm going to record it so I can play it again. Let me get my recorder on. By the way, everybody, smash that like button. If we get to 30 likes, I'm going to take off my clothes. All right. Recording device is that one. And 1, 2, 1, 2. Yes, we're recording. Okay. So, an unusual place which I visited, which sticks in my mind, actually, is Niagara Falls. And you might think, well, everyone knows what Niagara Falls is, so why is that so unusual? Well, from my perspective, it was quite unusual because I approached Niagara Falls from the American side, that is the United States side. And it's interesting because from the United States side, you don't get a particularly good view of Niagara Falls. The better view is actually from the Canadian side. And the effect that this has had on the town of Niagara in the United States is astonishing. The town is really a dump. Like the United States town of Niagara, it's a gangster town overlooked by a giant casino. And it's really not somewhere you want to be. But then when you go across to the Canadian side, it's amazing. You know, it's like it's full of tourists, families, and it's so safe and beautiful. And it's just that you get this incredible juxtaposition between the US Niagara and the Canadian Niagara. And I found that so unusual, or totally unexpected, and just so unusual that just by crossing a border, just crossing over, you get this totally different experience. And yeah, I think it's really interesting to visit places like that because I don't think there's any substitute for being somewhere in person. So you can look at pictures and I can tell you this story and whatever, but if you yourself go there, that's when you really have the experience and you really understand what I'm talking about. All right, folks, so that was my answer to the question. And that was just under 2 minutes. Just under 2 minutes long. Which is ideal because part 2 should take 3 to 4 minutes. And that includes the time to think about the task. So that was about 2 minutes long. I'm going to play that again so you can hear my answer again. While you listen, type in the chat any interesting phrases, and I will also. So any interesting phrases you hear, type those in the chat. Ready? Go. So, an unusual place which I visited, which sticks in my mind, actually, is Niagara Falls. And you might think, well, everyone knows what Niagara Falls is, so why is that so unusual? Well, from my perspective, it was quite unusual because I approached Niagara Falls from the American side, that is the United States side. And it's interesting because from the United States side, you don't get a particularly good view of Niagara Falls. The better view is actually from the Canadian side. And the effect that this has had on the town of Niagara in the United States is astonishing. The town is really a dump. Like the United States town of Niagara. It's a gangster town overlooked by a giant casino. And it's really not somewhere you want to be. But then when you go across to the Canadian side, it's amazing. You know, it's like it's full of tourists, families, and it's so safe and beautiful. And it's just this, you get this incredible juxtaposition between the US Niagara and the Canadian Niagara. And I found that so unusual, totally unexpected, and just so unusual that just by crossing a border, just crossing over, you get this totally different experience. And yeah, I think it's really interesting to visit places like that because I don't think there's any substitute for being somewhere in person. So you can look at pictures and I can tell you this story and whatever, but if you yourself go there, that's when you really have the experience and you really understand what I'm talking about. Okay, well done, folks. Some excellent vocabulary there from Professor Rich, as we might expect. I think I'll give him an 8.0. Sorry, Rich, you fail IELTS. No, just kidding. I think that was pretty good. I think you would argue between an 8.5 and a 9.0 because, hey, IELTS examiners love to justify the place by not giving 9.0. Once you give a 9.0, it's like admitting that someone has achieved ultimate English, isn't it? Smash that like button, folks, and I will take my top off. All right, moving on to our next IELTS topic card. This is an IELTS Task 2 speaking question. And this one says, describe a historical mystery you like. You should say what it is, why it interests you, and what could explain it. What do you think, folks? Answers in the chat. And then I will give you a model answer once we are finished. Got some interesting things going on behind me, which I can't show you. But hey, there's the fun. Maria de Carmen says, I really have that experience and I know what you're talking about. Interesting. I'm using double cream with protein powder in my coffee today. There's one thing you can say about me. It's that I am a bit weird. And I sort of embrace it. I'm definitely a bit weird. Not too weird, just a little bit. I like to do little weird things sometimes, like put protein powder in double cream and then put it in my coffee. Hey, that's just me. So, describe a historical mystery which you like. You should say what it is, why it interests you, and what could explain it. Oh, yeah. You should try that, folks. Double cream and protein powder. It's like a party in your mouth. And no one's invited apart from your best friends. Any comments for this one? Would anyone like to attempt this IELTS Task 2 speaking question? I'll just give you another minute before I give you my model answer. And then we'll move on to our topic for the day, which is modal verbs, past modals. Hello, Neo. You don't need to ask that question more than once, son. What is benefits more, watching a movie with subtitles or without? It depends, Neo. So basically, if you watch a movie with subtitles, that can help improve your active vocabulary. If you watch a movie without subtitles, that will improve your listening comprehension. So the question is, do you want to improve your active vocabulary or do you want to improve your listening comprehension? And here's an important thing, Neo, important information. If you watch a film with subtitles, it does not help your listening skill. It does help your vocabulary, but it does not help listening. Or it does help, but a tiny bit. Not very much. Manuel says, in the year 1998, I visited Greece, and one of the places I visited was Delphi. There's the Apollo temple. The guide told us if we drink the water, we get a wish. Fantastic. Meow Meow says, the identity of Jack the Ripper, the notorious serial killer in Victorian London, captures my interest. Indeed. That is fascinating, Meow Meow. And it also makes me think that you are Pavia, but I don't think you are Pavia. Again, it's a very Pavia type that you need to meet Pavia because it's a very Pavia thing to say. The mystery lies in the perpetrator's ability to evade capture, coupled with the gruesome, methodical nature of the murders. Indeed. Melina Kahneman says, what really impresses me is the Agispian Pyramid. I wonder how they were able to build them. I have no idea how they could move such stones to the top. There's so many interesting ancient mysteries about moving big stones, isn't there? Oh, by the way, everybody, do remember to smash that like button. If we hit 30 viewers, then I'm going to strip. No, I will take off my sweater and you can see my funky shirt. Look at it. It's a funky shirt. But we need 30 likes. If we get 30 likes, I'll do it. We need 9 more. I'm not going to do it if we don't reach 30 likes. All right, do you want your model answer? If you want your model answer, tell me. If not, don't tell me. Do you want it? Model answer, yes, no. Let's see. Do you want a model answer? Or shall we just move on to our language today? The language today is past modals for deduction. We're going to look at that in a minute. Do you want a model answer? Oh dear, you do. I was hoping you wouldn't actually, because I don't know what to say. Which is a common problem with IELTS Part 2. It's one of the things you have to train students. If you don't know what to say, just say anything. That's what people say, right? If you get on the IELTS exam and you don't know what to say, just say anything. It doesn't matter. You just need to say stuff. Okay, I'm going to give you a model answer, folks. Just give me a second. Ooh, double cream. Love it. Let me top up my coffee. A historical mystery. Historical mystery. All right. All right, so an historical mystery which really captures my interest. And to be honest, it's not that difficult to capture my interest because, you know, I'm someone, I like mysteries. I like solving mysteries. I like thinking about mysteries. One of my favorite types of video games is mystery video games. One of my favorite types of books is mystery books. One of my favorite type of film, etc., etc. You get the idea. I am absolutely fascinated and deeply intrigued by mysteries, and therefore, hey, I like thinking about mysteries. So one of the things that I find really interesting and mysterious is the weather balloon that crashed in Roswell. Now, I am fascinated by this and everything around it for many reasons. First of all, the fact that it actually, from some perspectives, seems like it wasn't a weather balloon. And then you've got a lot of people who talk about alien technology, alien crash, blah, 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 right? And then there's the whole connected community which relates to that. And there's just so much to unpack. Obviously, there's all kinds of people who jump on the bandwagon and say, oh, I've been abducted by aliens, etc., etc. Some people believe they have. Some people just say it because they want to be famous. There's loads of things going on with it, but I find the whole thing fascinating. And I am not prepared to dismiss it. I'm not prepared to say it is definitely our weather balloon. And I'm not prepared to say it is definitely not alien technology. I think it's likely that it was not alien technology. I think that is the likely explanation. But I'm not going to completely dismiss it. And that's why I find it fascinating. But I'm like that with everything. It's the way my mind works. I don't believe in absolutes in the material realm. I think you can always question things in the material realm. Spirituality is a different question. But in real life, in everyday life, there's always more than one explanation that's worth looking into. So what could explain it? Well, hey, it could have just been a weather balloon that crashed. It could have been, because, this was sort of Cold War era or pre-Cold War era, could have been some sort of military technology, either from the United States themselves or some kind of spy plane from a foreign power. And hey, nobody wants to admit that a spy plane from a foreign power has crashed over their country. The United States would not want to admit that because that would cause panic and all sorts of things they don't want. So say it's a weather balloon, right? It's the nice, easy explanation. Remember, we had something about this recently. There was a weather balloon that flew over the United States, and they speculate it was from China. They shot it down. And they said, oh, yes, it was a weather balloon. It could have been anything. I don't know actually how that was resolved. That's another interesting, more modern mystery. But these things absolutely fascinate me. All right, we'll stop that there. So that was my model answer. That one went on a bit longer, which is okay. You can go on for up to 3 minutes. That one was almost 3 minutes long. And we will do the same task again. I'm going to play that audio, and I want you to type in the chat interesting language that you hear. So model answer. This is a 9.0 IELTS answer. We're going to listen to that. And I want you to type in the chat the interesting phrases you hear, and I will as well. Okay, let's go. All right, so an historical mystery which really captures my interest. And to be honest, it's not that difficult to capture my interest because, I'm someone, I like mysteries. I like solving mysteries. I like thinking about mysteries. One of my favorite types of video games is mystery video games. One of my favorite types of books is mystery books. One of my favorite type of film, etc., etc. You get the idea. I am absolutely fascinated and deeply intrigued by mysteries, and therefore, hey, I like thinking about mysteries. So one of the things that I find really interesting and mysterious is the weather balloon that crashed in Roswell. Now, I am fascinated by this and everything around it for many reasons. First of all, the fact that it actually, from some perspectives, seems like it wasn't a weather balloon. And then you've got a lot of people who talk about alien technology, alien crash, blah, 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 right? And then there's the whole connected community which relates to that. And there's just so much to unpack. Obviously, there's all kinds of people who jump on the bandwagon and say, oh, I've been abducted by aliens, etc., etc. Some people believe they have. Some people just say it because they want to be famous. There's loads of things going on with it. But I find the whole thing fascinating. And I am not prepared to dismiss it. I'm not prepared to say it is definitely our weather balloon. And I'm not prepared to say it is definitely not alien technology. I think it's likely that it was not alien technology. I think that is the likely explanation. But I'm not going to completely dismiss it. And that's why I find it fascinating. But I'm like that with everything. It's the way my mind works. I don't believe in absolutes in the material realm. I think you can always question things in the material realm. Spirituality is a different question. But in real life, in everyday life, there's always more than one explanation that's worth looking into. So what could explain it? Well, hey, It could have just been a weather balloon that crashed. It could have been, because, you know, this was sort of Cold War era or pre-Cold War era, could have been some sort of military technology, either from the United States themselves or some kind of spy plane from a foreign power. And hey, nobody wants to admit that a spy plane from a foreign power has crashed over their country. The United States would not want to admit that, because that would cause panic and all sorts of things they don't want. So say it's a weather balloon, right? It's the nice, easy explanation. Remember, we had something about this recently. There was a weather balloon that flew over the United States, and they speculate it was from China. They shot it down. You know, so, and they said, oh, yes, it was a weather balloon. It could have been anything. I don't know actually how that was resolved. That's another interesting, more modern mystery. But these things absolutely fascinate me. All right, folks, that was your model answer for talking about Roswell. For this answer, this task 2 IELTS answer there, that's your model answer for a 9.0 in IELTS. Guaranteed. Some amazing vocabulary there. Well done, me. All right, I know. It's easy for me, folks. I know it's very difficult for you. It's easy for me. Speaking your own language is obviously a lot easier. All right, I'm not trying to say, wow, look at me there, okay? I'm just giving you a good native answer to use. So thank you very much for everyone in the chat for typing out some phrases there. Some excellent vocabulary, including our target language. Now, our target language for the day is past modals. And there we saw a few natural uses, especially it coulda. I used it coulda many times. It coulda this, it coulda that, it coulda that. It coulda this, and it mighta, but especially it coulda. It could have been this, it could have been that. So that is obviously an expression that we naturally use quite well. And the proof of that is I just spoke naturally to you about this subject and I used it. And there is no better proof than that to see real language that people really use. So, let's go back to Stonehenge. How did they move the stones? How did they move the stones? What do you think? I'm going to give you some options here. How did they move the stones of Stonehenge? Which of these options do you think is the best explanation? Which of these options do you think is the best explanation for Stonehenge? How did they move those stones? Have a look. 1 to 6. What do you think? Type your opinion in the chat and try to justify it. We've got they mighta, listen to the pronunciation, they might have used wooden rollers. They can't have had alien assistance. The stones must have been from nearby. They must have used canals and boats. They may have used the power of ancient gods. They might have used ropes and special tools. So which of those do you think is the most likely explanation for Stonehenge? Type your answers in the chat. We have 25 likes, folks. If we get to 30 likes today, if we get 3 more likes, I will take off my sweater so you can see my funky shirt. That's right. Today we're playing Strip Teacher Rich. Sonia really likes the first one, wooden rollers. I believe, Sonia, there is some investigation into that. Could they have used wooden rollers for Stonehenge? And I think that there's a few reasons they think it's unlikely. One of them is they didn't have wheels. So when they put Stonehenge together, it predates the invention of the wheel. So if they didn't have wheels, then Why would they think about wooden rollers? Maria del Carmen says, they must have used wooden rollers and ropes. Okay, if you say so. They must have used wooden rollers and ropes. Manuel says, the stones must have been from nearby. Wrong. They were brought from nearly 90 miles away. That's right. They could have used canals and boats like the Egyptians did, says Manuel. I do believe there is some evidence for that, actually. Okay, let's move on to our next mystery. So here's something we have discussed today as well, which is the pyramids. How did they build the pyramids? There are some people who argue with modern technology we could build the pyramids. However, no one has proved it. We do not have definite proof that building the pyramids is possible today. We don't have definite proof of that because no one's done it. So we don't know that even today we could build them. So this is the question. How did they build the pyramids? How did they build these massive things so long ago? How was that possible? All right, so let's have a look at the possibilities. We've got, again, 1 to 5 this time. What do you think about this? How did they build the pyramids? They must have used technology of the time, like ramps and wheels. So I think they did have wheels in that time. So they had more technology than for Stonehenge, right? The Egyptians at that time had more technology than the ancient Britons. So they had ramps and wheels and so on. They might have had assistance from aliens. They can't have only used their bare hands. What does that mean, folks? In the chat, what does it mean, bare hands? What does it mean to use your bare hands? And we are now on 28 likes. If we get 2 more likes, then I will remove my sweater. I'm going to strip if we get 2 more likes. Maybe that means that you want to remove your like. Maybe you want to unlike the video so that that doesn't happen. Oh no, 29 likes. This is getting scary. All right, so thank you very much for watching, everybody, and I'll catch you next week. Okay. And that's it, 30 likes. Okay, well, I'm not going to take it off live on stream, so just give me a second while I turn my camera off. My word. Hello there. There you go. Hey, anyone would think it's summer, would they not? All right. Now I'm going to get cold. Thank you, folks. Thank you for that. I'll have to do more crazy stuff like that. All right, so we had a variety of suggestions about how they built the pyramids. Maybe now we can look a little bit of a look at the language. Let's have a look at the phrase, they might have had assistance from aliens. They might have had assistance from aliens. I've got some questions. I have some questions about this phrase. So, have a look at the questions about this phrase. Is it about the past or the present? Is it an opinion or a fact? And is the person certain or not sure? So, you can type your answers there in the chat about this. They might have had assistance from aliens. Is this phrase about the past or the present? Is it an opinion or a fact? And is the person certain or not sure? I like that. It's pure conjecture. So this is in fact about the past. This is in fact an opinion. And the person is not sure. So we know it's about the past. Why? Because of have. We know it's an opinion. Why? Because this is the past modal structure for giving opinions, which is must, may, might, could, can, can't, plus have. That's a past modal structure for giving an opinion. And we know that the person is not sure because of might. If here we said must or can't, then the person would be sure. But here we see the person is not sure. So that is the past. That's the use of past modals for deduction. So let's talk a little bit about the form. Let's talk about the form. So you can type your answers for this also in the chat. Talking about form. Actually, you can't type your answers because I've given you the answer. The form is subject plus modal plus have plus participle. Subject plus modal plus have plus participle. Let me tell you how to remember this. You say muster, muster, muster mighter, can't have. Muster mighter, can't have. That's it. And with those three, you can say everything you need to say. And actually, those three are the most common. Muster, mighter, and can't have. Notice with can't have, we stress both words. Can't have. Right? Can't have. So we got muster, mighter, can't have. It must have been aliens. It might have been aliens. It can't have been aliens. All right? Muster, mighter, can't have. Or can't have. Can't have, can't have. Can't have as well. Can't have, can't have. But we're stressing can't. Can't. Muster, mighter, can't have. Yeah, great. All right, so I want you to practice. I'm going to show you 6 phrases in the past which give opinion. I want you to convert the phrases to past modals. So here are 6 phrases in the past that give opinion. I want you to convert these phrases to past modals. So each of these phrases can be represented with a past modal. So type your answers in the chat now. How do you convert these phrases to past modals? How long have we been going for? Only 52 minutes? I feel like I've been streaming for 2 hours. Okay, today's a special day, everybody. Rich feels like he's been streaming for 2 hours, but it's just 52 minutes. We've got loads to come yet. We need to correct the homework from last week. And we need some practice with our past modal structure. So well done, Sonia. Well done, Takeshi. Well done, Vitelli. Well done, Sanjan and Nadia, for your submissions. Nadia, that's very good. Well done. That's perfect. Yeah, that's good. Well done, Nadia. Julia, you might have made the coffee for number 1. No, not for number 1. Not for number 1, Julia. That's not right. For number 1. Maria del Carmen, you're making it too complicated. We want to replace "it's impossible that he made the coffee." Replace that with a past modal structure. That's the idea. Excuse me one moment. I need to attend to my cats. Ginger, Pepper.
I want to make my food.
And we're back. All right, everybody. So let me give you some answers for this. This is the ProfRich answers. Let's go. Number one. He can't have made the coffee. That's my answer. He can't have made the coffee. Number two. She might have made the coffee. Number two. Number three. He must have made the coffee. Number four. It must have been colder yesterday than it is today. Number five. It kind of snowed yesterday. And number six. It might have snowed last week. It might have snowed last week. So there's our answers, everybody. Let's move on and have some practice here. So we're going to move on. IELTS speaking part 3 style practice to practice part 3 of the IELTS speaking exam. You can see on the screen there 5 questions that are questions on this subject. These are the kind of questions that you will get in part 3 of IELTS. So you can talk about these right now in the chat. Please do write the number of the question which you're answering. Write the number of the question which you're answering so we know which one you're talking about. For example, number 2, should more resources be allocated to investigating historical mysteries? Personally, I do agree with this, although I don't think it's a priority in terms of where resources should be allocated. I do think that we should allocate more resources to investigating historical mysteries rather than investing so many resources in modern political, what would be the word? Modern political novelties. In other words, the fascinations of the day. I feel like a lot of money gets invested in the fascination of the day, and I don't think the fascination of the day is very important in a historical context. And I think most of the things that we're investing money in terms of a modern fascination will be forgotten in 50 years' time. So I think it would be much more beneficial for human society if we invested more resources in investigating historical mysteries. And also we might discover some very interesting things, which is always a good point. So what do you guys think? Type the number of the question which you are answering in the chat. Let me know. And I'll just take this moment to say thank you very much, everybody, for watching so far. Today, we will be looking at your homework from last week. So I assign homework every Saturday, and we correct those live on stream. And we'll be looking at your homework from last week. I think my chat's frozen, so I'm going to try refreshing it. No, it hasn't frozen. Just nobody's saying anything. Hello? Do I need to bring Manuel live on stream? In what ways do world mysteries like Stonehenge impact the cultural identity of a nation? I think that's quite an interesting question because Stonehenge is quite strongly associated with English tradition and culture. So there obviously is some sort of connection there. There's some sort of important part of Stonehenge which does form our identity as a nation. Takeshi says, for number 1, such mysteries help us understand that ancient civilizations were as sophisticated as, or even more so than today. And that always fascinates me, how they were created. I find that interesting as well, Takeshi. I think a lot of people look at the past and say, oh, people were so stupid. But I really think that's a very short-sighted perspective. And actually, we could well have done the same thing in their situation. In fact, we probably would have when we think that they weren't so intelligent. And then, of course, we see examples like the pyramids and Stonehenge, where we really do need to question whether they had access to more technology than we thought. All right, just bear with me 1 second, folks. Just going to freeze the camera for 1 second while you type your answers. All right, so while you contemplate those further answers, let's see. Pavia says, allocating resources to investigate historical mysteries is crucial. It unravels our past, fosters cultural understanding, and preserves heritage. That's a really strong collocation there from Pavia, which is fosters cultural understanding. Excellent. Okay, folks, so let's move on and have a look then at our homework assignment. First of all, this is the homework assignment for next week. So the homework for next week is research a world mystery from the past and give your opinion about the theories. If you wish, that could be a world mystery from your country, for example. But if you wish to investigate the world mysteries from around the world, then you can also do that. I will not prevent you. So that is our homework for next week. And if you wish to submit your homework, then you need to join our Discord server and you can send me your homework there to be corrected. And now we're on to question time, folks. If you have any questions about today's class or about English in general, you can also download the notes from today at the link which is now in the chat. And also, I'll be posting that below the video. Download the notes from today. Does anyone have any questions about English, about past modals, about learning English, or in general? Maria del Carmen says, what can we say when you don't know what to say? You say, I'm not so sure about that. Or, I'm not really sure what to say. That's kind of a difficult one. Let me have a think. I'm not really sure what to say. That's kind of a difficult one. Let me have a think. I'm not really sure what to say. That's kind of a difficult one. Let me have a think. I'm not really sure what to say. That's kind of a difficult one. Let me have a think. Practice that. I'm not really sure what to say. That's kind of a difficult one. Let me have a think. The mystery could be how Manuel has landed on the Earth without, what's that? Proper clothes. Rich, what do you think people mean by artistry in drama? Oh my God. Well, first of all, artistry is just any form of expression. So really, if someone says artistry in drama in a general context, then I would understand that they just mean the expression, the art, the creativity that someone puts into drama. However, it is possible that artistry in drama is a domain-specific term which is generally understood to refer to something specific rather than general. But I'm telling you that generally, this is what I would understand from the term artistry in drama. It's the expression of the person of drama in the drama that they do. What about may have been? Is it common? May have been is less common, Anawat, but we do use it. We do use it. It's interchangeable with might have been, but a little bit less common. I think probably because it's a little bit more difficult to say. But yeah, generally considered may have been sounds a bit finer. Oh, it may have been. Whereas mighter is more sort of colloquial. Not colloquial, but more common. Fishing versus angling. Well, angling is when you use a rod. It's when you use a fishing rod. Whereas fishing could be with a net or with explosives even. But angling is with a rod. Now, when people say, I'm going to go fishing, almost all of the time, they mean with a rod. What's your take on artistic failure? I don't know. What is it? I need more context, Pavia. What's artistic failure? If you tell me what artistic failure is, I'll try and give you my perspective. Artistic failure. I'm going to have to Google it. Artistic failure. An artistic failure has to do with the lack of objective correlation. Called an artistic failure because there is delay on the part of blah, blah, blah. Artistic failures. What is an artistic failure, though? The writer is unable to objectify the emotions. It says that powerful character, blah, blah, blah. Still don't really understand it. An artistic failure. Hamlet is the Mona Lisa of literature, blah, blah, blah. Just sounds like... it sounds like either domain-specific... What's the word I'm looking for? Jargon. Or an empty... Just a way of saying something is bad for some reason. So the thing is, because art is itself, it's difficult to appreciate art in an objective way, and therefore to say something is an artistic failure is really just giving your opinion on whether you like it or not. So really saying this is an artistic failure is equal to saying I don't like this because. That's it. There's a general belief that teachers are using method in which they show a lot of puzzle paths for learning English. What do you mean, Manuel? That sounds interesting. Tell me more. Nadia says, is it okay to answer I'm good instead of I'm well? Yeah. In British English as well. How are you? I'm good. I'm good. I don't know if it's more common in American English, but it's very common here in Britain as well. People say, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. How's it going? I'm good. Even, are you good? Are you good? Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. It's fine. Keep it going with questions, folks, if you'd like some. As soon as we move on to homework, we're into the final stretch. Last chance for questions. Bum, 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 bum. What's this? Pavia says, I want to hear your opinion as a teacher. Oh, yes. This looks spicy. Let's get that up. That's exactly the kind of stuff I like to talk about. Spicy stuff. Pavia says, I want to hear your opinion as a teacher. How would you react if your favorite student was pointing out some grotesque gossip that was going on about you in the college community? Okay. Where do you get this stuff, Pavia? How would you react if your favorite student was pointing out some grotesque gossip that was going on about you in the college community? Can I first of all say that I don't have a favorite student? I'm not going to be as trite as to say that I don't have favorite students, because of course I'm human and humans have favorite humans. It's just how it happens. But to say that I have a favorite student, I'm sorry, I must decline. I do not have a favorite student, so that's not right. But if we talk about one of your favorite students, okay, was pointing out. Now, I have to ask, what do you mean by pointing out? Do you mean, because pointing out could mean a lot of things. They're highlighting it. But there might be, what is the context of them highlighting it? What is the context of them pointing it out? That's important in considering my answer. I need to know whether they're pointing it out to criticize it, because they might be. They might be saying, has everyone seen this load of rubbish that some terrible people are spreading about the glorious Professor Rich? For example. But let's imagine that they're pointing it out in a different way. They're saying, oh my God, look at this. Look at this terrible, grotesque gossip that's going on. Maybe Rich is not the great teacher we thought he is. Instead, he's some horrific cad. How would I react? Well, I think that would be an interesting situation, which would require a very high level of professionalism. So when we face such situations, you know that me as a teacher, I'm an informal guy and I'm an informal teacher. But when it comes to these situations, we must bring ourselves to the highest level of professionalism possible. Which means, first of all, where at all possible, we do not include this in the class. So, only if necessary do we address this in the class, if indeed it is something serious. If it's something which is not serious, then yeah, we can just address it in normal, casual, Rich way. But if it's something quite serious and it's gossip in the class, then we have to say, right, there is gossip going round right now. I need to shut that down. We're not going to discuss this in class. And if you wish to discuss this with me further, you can email me or talk to me privately after class. So that would be the kind of professional response. And then, if necessary, when the situation has been resolved, probably involving college management, because a situation such as this may need to involve management, then at a future time, I could make a statement in class about the situation. For example, saying, recently there were some rumors about me which were highlighted in the class, and I wish to inform you now that this has been extensively investigated and discussed by the college management, and they have found that I have acted in a professional manner and that the rumors were false. And I would like to put to bed those rumors now and suggest that we no longer discuss them, because it was just a vicious lie. And we will be investigating to find out who started these rumors. And we'll find out who you are. Oh, yes. All right. Or something like that. Okay, so maybe I misunderstood this. Pavia says, I mean, if the student is privately discussing with you. Privately discussing with you. No, I would appreciate that, Pavia, actually. So if one of my students come and told me about some untrue rumours that were going around about me, I would appreciate that. Because then it would allow me to publicly say that's wrong. So actually it's quite helpful for someone to tell me that someone says something like that about me. That's just me though. You know, other people might react in a different way. Hey, if the rumours are true, they might get upset with you. But from my perspective, if someone's spreading rumours about me, tell me. Because that's not right. And actually, I'll do the same for you. If you're a student and I hear someone saying things about you in the college, then I think it's actually my responsibility to do something about that. That might be an instance of bullying, in which case we would have to treat that extremely seriously. So let's move on then to Takeshi's question. Multiple English teachers teaching in public schools can't even speak English, but they're good at grammar. What are your thoughts? So Takeshi, my thoughts are, if you want to teach how to communicate in English, you need to be able to communicate in English. Let me write that. If you are going to teach how to communicate in English, you must be able to communicate in English. So if you want to teach writing, then you need to be able to write. And if you need to teach speaking and listening, you need to be able to speak and listen. That is as simple as it gets. So if you have a teacher who cannot speak English, they cannot teach you how to speak English. It is that simple. Pavia, if I were you, I would strongly avoid those situations. If you have approached the teacher and you've told them and they got upset, then you're in serious danger, because it is possible that the rumours are true, or that the way you approached the situation they didn't like. And in which case, the best thing for you would be to step away from that, fade into the background, complete the class, and move on with your life. Don't get involved with the drama. However, if you've reported it and the teacher appreciates that, well, then you better hope that they act in a professional manner. I certainly would, but I can't speak for everybody. I would almost certainly mention it to management if a student had a conversation with me about something like that. I would almost certainly speak to my academic management about it. I think it would need to be on the record, and I would want it to be on the record, and I would probably speak to them and email them so that there's a written record. Because if there's something which questions my integrity or my reputation or threatens the safety of someone, then I need to take serious action, whether that's my safety or my students' safety or whatever. So it's my duty as an educator to act in a professional manner, report that, record it, get it on record, and then the event or the rumour will need to be investigated. And I will do it. Takeshi says it's a catch-22 situation because without them, there's no one to teach. No. It's quite simple, Takeshi. People can hire natives. The budget is enough. Where are you? Where are you based, Takeshi? Are you in Japan? Don't tell me that the budget is not enough. The problem is you need to open a door to language teachers, because it's my understanding that if you want to teach in a high school, let's say in Japan, then you need to speak Japanese, you need a degree in English. This is the wrong way to go. You need to make it so that you need a TESOL diploma or a Delta. And then you need to say, if you have a TESOL diploma or Delta and 5 years experience or more of teaching English, then you can come to Japan, get a visa for 3 years, and you can get a job in a school teaching English. If you do that, you will get the highest quality language teachers from all over the world coming there. Oh, you're not in Japan. Okay, I thought you were because Takeshi, but okay. Because I know lots of people who would love a lovely job in a Japanese state school, but they don't speak Japanese, they don't have a degree in education, they don't have a degree in English. They have the industry qualifications, the CELTA, the Delta, they're great teachers, but they have degrees in history, politics, philosophy. You have to open to that. Once you open to that, you will get them. You'll get the good teachers. All right, folks, that's enough for question time. Let's move on to the homework assignment from last week. So the homework assignment from last week was, have a think about the year 2100 or 2100. What do you think it'll be like? Record a 3-minute audio. Homework assignment from last week. What do you think it'll be like? Think about the year 2100 and record a 3-minute audio. So we have a few submissions today, and we're gonna start with, let me roll the dice. Just give me 1 second. So we're gonna start with Anthony. On the Discord server, this person's called Anthony. I don't know who this is in the chat. If you want to say hello, then please do, or comment down below. But on the Discord server, this is Anthony. Let's have a listen.
In 22nd century, with the blessings of advanced technology and knowledge, things will change tremendously. First, veterinary neurologists, along with biomedical engineers, would be able to invent a pet translator device, which helps us accurately understand what our pets communicate with us, and vice versa. Second, since this blue planet would become boiling and get worse, biotechnologists would come up with the idea of genetically modified plants that can absorb greenhouse gases and convert them into ones which can mitigate such problematic gases. Last but not least, famine and drought will remain in crisis. Scientists would suggest an extremely exceptional alternative solution to the trouble, akin to embed chloroplast or photosynthetic systems into one's body, so they could produce nutrients and water on their own. Having said that, the fact that our world will become either utopia or dystopia is totally on us all. Selflessness and innovativeness possibly are the crucial factors in the choices.
Wow, some really wonderful language there. Well done, Anthony. That was really interesting to listen to. Excellent level of vocabulary, that cannot be denied. Loads of really great phrases. Absorb greenhouse gases, mitigate. I love mitigate. It's one of my favorite words. Well used there in a natural way. So great level of language. Let me tell you what I did notice, Anthony. It sounded like you're reading from a script. I don't know if that's the case or not, but I recommend do not read from a script when you're recording the audio, because we want you to speak naturally like you're talking to someone. You can use notes if you wish, but avoid using a script. Now, what I did notice is, for example, a bit of inappropriate sentence stress, connected speech, things like this where you said, be able to, or something like that, be able to, instead of be able to, right? So we got the idea there of connected speech sentence stress. There was a lot of emphasis on isolated words. So you would pronounce each word with a hammer. Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? Okay, so that's great, very clear. But let's get away from that and let's start to say all the words together in this kind of way, where I'm talking a little bit more like this, a bit more like a machine gun rather than individual words, right? So we want to turn our English into like ba da 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 ba ba da da da, right? Rather than da 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 da, it's like ba da 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 la la da 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 ra da 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 da. So try to move over to that way of speaking. But wow, great vocabulary. It's great to hear from you today, Anthony, and I look forward to receiving your homework in the future. Thank you very much to that. So let's move on to our next victim today. Who is our next victim today? Sorry. I meant to say, who is our next student today? Who is our next student today? Let's go for Zanawat. Always a good laugh.
In the year 2100, incredible events will have occurred, and you won't believe what I am about to share. Let's rewind to the year 2090. That's when aliens from galaxies far, far away will have arrived. And guess what? They will look like cats. Yes, cats. But here's the surprising part. It turns out they sent cats to spy on us for centuries, and this is the suitable time to complete their mission. They will grant power to cats worldwide, enabling them to expand their size to that of an elephant. These feline beings will gain immense power and intelligence, even walking on 2 feet and speaking human languages like English and Spanish, abandoning the familiar meow meow we know today. The commander of Alien Cat Guild will have assisted local cats in conquering the blue planet. After a decade-long struggles against the cat armies, by 2100, half of humanity's population will have been captured and deported to Mars, along with dogs. Oh, poor dogs. Those remaining on Earth will become slaves to the cats. Fortunately, cats won't fancy eating humans, but we will be compelled to build giant fish farms globally to meet their enormous needs, and we will be forbidden from consuming fish since then. We must create entertaining games to keep them happy. Failure will result in deportation to Mars with no chance of returning to Earth. During this time, the alien cats will be demolishing all statues, including the Statue of Liberty, replacing them with cat statues like the Monarchy Neko or Lucky Cat, believed to bring good luck to their species. Peace is anticipated to settle between cats and humans before both parties realize the impending threat in 2120. Bam! Alien dogs will show up seeking revenge for their ancestors.
Oh, brilliant. I had my microphone off, but just before you said it, I was like, it's got to be dogs. And boom, there we go. Brilliant. That was fantastic, Anawat. It sounds like some great creativity going on there, if that was unassisted. But yeah, brilliant, brilliant. Loved it. What a great story. Some fantastic language. My absolute favourite: will be compelled to build giant fish farms. That phrase, folks, is bingo, bang on. This is a phrase that is unique, interesting, in context, complex. This phrase is the epitome, the archetype of personalization. This is amazing, right? Anawat will not forget this structure in his life because he made that. Will be compelled to build giant fish farms. That phrase is, it's what you should aim for with personalization. Not because it's wild and weird, but because it's in context, it's fascinating, interesting, funny, and it uses the target structure. Love it. Well done, Anawat. Right, turning to the negatives, as usual. Connected speech could be better, much like Anthony. I'm not going to repeat what I said. This one, we need to change that from it turns out. We need to change it into it'll turn out. It'll turn out. And I'd probably throw that in there. I know it's optional, but it'll turn out that they sent our own cats to spy on us for centuries. Even better, it'll turn out that they'll have been sending our own cats to spy on us for centuries. Look at that! The future perfect continuous to talk about something true at a future time and specifically mention the duration. Boom. So you had an opportunity there to use the future perfect continuous. Great. All right, moving on. We got the pronunciation. Conquering. Anticipated. 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 Conquering. Anticipated. That's it. All right, well done, Anna. Loved it. Absolutely brilliant. Was super happy to hear your fascinating story. And really, it's the stuff dreams are made of, Anawat. You're a good student. Having someone who comes up with stuff like that in your class, it's gold dust, because it's not only beneficial for him, it's beneficial for you too. Because it's so interesting that it sticks in your head as well. What was it about cats and fish farms? Compelled. Will be compelled to build giant fish farms. What a story. I love it. Great. Let's move on. Go on, let's see if Pavia can top this. Pavia likes a challenge. So we'll have a listen there. Pavia.
Alright guys, let's dive into this wild day at the theme park of the future. So, you walk in and it's not your typical roller coaster and cotton candy affair. No sir, this place is a time travel bonanza. You start your morning in ancient Egypt, dodging chariots and maybe helping build a pyramid or two. Then for lunch, you're casually chatting with folks from the 25th century, discussing the latest holographic fashion trends. It's like history class, but way more exciting and with a hint of futuristic flair. Now, imagine looking up at the city skyline. Instead of usual concrete jungle, it's a floating wonderland. Skyscrapers aren't bothering with the whole gravity thing. They are just chilling mid-air. Want to visit your friend on the 30th floor? Just hop on the anti-gravity elevator and boom, you're there, enjoying a view that will make your grandparents' jaw drop. And here's the kicker. Personal robots that double as your time traveling companions. Forget fetching the newspaper. Your metallic body can zip through time to grab you a souvenir from ancient Greece or snag tomorrow's winning lottery numbers. It's like having a futuristic R2D2 with a penchant for temporal adventures. In the year 2100, life might just be a crazy mix of historical escapades, gravity defying skylines, and robots that make your current tech look like a child's play. Who says the future has to be all serious and predictable? It's bound to be a roller coaster, quite literally.
All right, well, Pavia never disappoints with the vocabulary and the imagination. Casually chatting with frogs from the 25th century. Count me in. Let's do it. If any frogs from the 25th century are watching this stream right now, smash that like button and get in touch. I'm all about it. A hint of futuristic flair. I like it. Futuristic flair. A little bit of alliteration. Using the same letter to start a series of words is called alliteration. Futuristic flair. Be bound to be also has the same effect. Be bound to be a roller coaster. It's bound. It was bound to be a roller coaster, quite literally. And I found that quite funny because, of course, it was using the word literally in a figurative sense. So good job there, because that is actually how a lot of people use literally. They use literally to mean figuratively or metaphorically. Of course, you didn't literally mean that the future is a roller coaster. You meant that it's going to be really wild, figuratively, and you emphasize that with quite literally, in a non-literal way. Then we got a bit of pronunciation stuff for Pavia to work on, because we're going to be perfectionists about this. 13th, you used the Irish pronunciation. You said 13th or something like that. Sound a bit Irish. 13th, so just make sure that you're hitting that th at the start. Fetching, you used kind of a voiced version or something. You said something like fetting, fetsing or something, fetsing maybe. So make sure you get the ch in there, like church. We got fetch, church, fetching, ching, fetching. And then moving on, defying. You had the voiced there. You said defying, that's wrong. It's defying, defying. Gravity defying. The gravity defying roller coaster of frog madness. Defying. All right, thank you very much, Pavia. Absolutely wonderful. Loved it. Hi, folks. We are going to move on. We've got Manuel, we've got Julia, and we've got Elena. Who's it going to be? Let's go for Miss Hatata.
Let's imagine how our underwater life will be unfold by 2100. The prospect of an underwater world by 2100 presents both awe-inspiring opportunities and insurmountable challenges. On the positive and bright side, embracing life beneath under the waves could provide a unique solution to challenges posed by climate change. The research showed that rising sea levels could affect 3 times more people, and some 150 million people are now living on land. That will be below the high tide line by mid-century. With rising sea levels threatening the coastal areas, the transitioning to underwater living may provide a sustainable and resilient alternative. The vast and explored depth could begin our new frontier.
Nice break there for a mobile phone message.
Unlocking and tapping resources and biodiversity. Innovation in underwater architecture and technology may give rise to self-sufficient and subaquatic communities fostering for a renewed appreciation for marine ecosystem. In the underwater war of 2100, human living time would undergo a radical transformation, blending technological innovation with a deep connection to marine environment. In summary, the transition to an underwater war by 2100 will be a day like no other and offer resilient, resource abundance, and scientific discovery. In the face of calamity, it comes with the need to overcome significant technological, ecological, and social challenges. Those who have the burgeoning passion will see it as an opportunity for the surreal experience indeed.
All right, Julia, thank you very much. Some excellent stuff there. On the bright side, the prospect of the transition to X may provide Y, underwater technology, a renewed appreciation for the marine ecosystem. I'll say that again. A renewed appreciation for the marine ecosystem. Technological innovation and the transition to X by year Y will be Z. The transition to living on Mars by 2050 will be challenging. The transition to having conversations with frogs from the 25th century by the year 2100 will be fascinating. All right, and then moving on to pronunciation. So rising sea levels. I didn't understand it at all. I needed context to help. Rising sea levels. So not rising sea, but rising sea levels. Rising sea levels could affect. Then we've got resilient. We've got resource abundant. Is resilient spelt right there? Yeah, it is. Okay. Resource abundant. Resource abundant. Then overcome. It's O. You said overcome. Forget that. Overcome. Like home and phone. Look at my mouth. It's a very British sound. I see. Oh dear. Oh dear. Hello. My home and my phone. Phone home. Overcome. Notice my mouth has to move. Overcome. All right. That's enough of that. Thank you, Julia. Let's move on. Boom. Got two more. Manuel, yours is 4 minutes. Why are you doing it to me? We're going to listen to Elena and then Manuel. And I don't know if we're going to listen to all 4 minutes, but hey-ho.
Hello, Rich. Hi, everyone. I have a feeling that all people will be happy because they will realize that we only have one life, and that is valuable. Most people will have their own plane, and if they want to see a ballet at Covent Garden in London or the Bolshoi Theatre in Moscow, they'll fly there. I suppose people will have free access to other countries because there'll be no borders between them. And most importantly, all good wishes will definitely come true.
Wonderful, succinct and poignant. Thank you, Elena. Absolutely fantastic. I wonder if you, because you said will have a lot, and I wonder if you were trying to use the future perfect, but actually you were using future simple. That's okay, by the way. You used future simple correctly. Well done. With people will have, but I didn't hear any future perfect if you were trying to do that. It can get confusing sometimes because have for possession, main verb, versus have or have for the auxiliary, for the future perfect. All right, and then all people. No. No. What's the word? Everybody. Everyone. Ding, 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 ding. Everyone will. Not all people. Well done, Elena. Absolutely fantastic. Which brings us to our final contendant of the day. That is Mr. Gordillo. So, Mr. Gordillo, take us away with your 4-minute extravaganza.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Today, I'm going to speak about how will be the Earth in the year 2121. Well, so I come into my closet. I press my machine like ATM and put delivery in the year 2121. And then it's this that I discovered today. In the year 2525 was a famous song, but now I am in the 2121 and still alive. Well, first of all, there is no country. There is no country. All Europe is an only nation. Asia is the only nation. China, Japan, Thai, Myanmar, and all of them, Korea as well, and was joining in the year 2100. That's the transportation. The transportation is funny because we have like a flying shoe. There is no motorway, and the ancient motorway is used by lorry in order to transport food, because in the year 2121, the people still eat fruit, eat fish, dips, whenever you want. And then, if you want to make a travel comfort, there is like a piece like a car, but a flying car. Each one have a slot, and then you can go for this slot. Well, the most important thing that's in the earth you can have some baths, because the ocean layer was destroyed in the year 2018 because the pollution. So it's impossible.
This is absolutely fascinating, Manuel, but I'm going to skip to the end. There's already quite a lot to talk about. So let's see your finish.
21. Thank you very much, and thanks for listening to me.
All right. Okay, let's go over some corrections here. Manuel's a big boy, so he can take it. Manuel is very fluent. His ideas are fantastic. I'm not gonna blow smoke in his direction anymore. Let's get on to some corrections, Manuel. Let's get on to your weak point here. So, you said I'm going to speak about how will be. You've used question word form, but this is technically reported speech, which means we do not invert. So I'm going to speak about, what are we missing here? Yeah, you said how will be the future. So it should in fact be, I'm going to speak about how the future will be. I'm going to speak about how the future will be. Okay. I'm confusing myself now. Let me just think about this a minute. How will the future be? How the future will be. You haven't used question word order. You've used like Spanish question word order. So, okay, you haven't used question word order. But anyway, this is what you have to do. It's how the future will be. There is no country. Okay, stay in the future. There'll be no country, no individual countries. Okay? All Europe is a single country. All of Europe will be a single country. All was joined. All will have been joined by the year 2100. So you have a perfect opportunity there to use the future perfect, which was in fact our target language for that class. So let's use it to impress the examiner, which is me. All right. In 2100, people still eat. So you could use future continuous. People will still be eating. That would be great. Drop the is Spanglish, the people. Or, no, in fact, sorry, the future continuous is the only way to do this. So people will still be eating. Or future simple, people will still eat is okay as well. And the flyer car, okay, drop the. We're just going to say flying cars, pluralize. Drop the and pluralize. When talking in general in English, we don't use the and we do use the plural. So make it plural and drop the definite article, drop the. All right. So there you go, Manuel. There's a few corrections for you. Thank you so much, everybody, for submitting your homework. And thank you for sticking around this long. This is a great time, if you haven't already, to smash that like button. Thank you very much for joining me today. We're going to do a few more questions before we wrap up. So, final question time. Let me know in the chats. Maria Elena Quarroth says, I'll be seeing you all from the other side. Yep, she's just come in at the final... what's it? Now you know meow meow. I guess that's you, Pavia. But I got you confused with Cat, because there's someone called Cat who comes in who actually is one of my real life students. And I don't know who it is, but they're a real life student. And so we had Cat and Meow Meow, who are both mysterious figures, coming in and making it a bit peculiar. Final questions, folks. What can I help you with this weekend before I disappear? We've been streaming for almost 2 hours, which is, you know, what I like to do. How do you tell something is countable or not, especially with abstract nouns? That is a really interesting point. So let's talk about that, Takeshi, because that's a really good question. How do you tell something is countable or not, especially with abstract nouns? How do you tell something is countable or not, especially with abstract nouns? I'm going to say, actually, there is no definite way of telling that something is countable or not. So we can only look at the use in order to determine if something is countable or not. There is no rule about something being countable or not. So although it may seem to make sense, and let me write this part, although it may seem to make sense that words like water and sand and music are uncountable, there is, in fact, no logic to why something is uncountable or not. So there is no rule, there is no logical way to know for certain that something is uncountable. It is a question of form, not meaning. The fact that something is uncountable does not change the meaning of it. It is only form. It's grammar, structure, form of the noun. That's it. There's no special meaning. Just because something's uncountable doesn't mean that it's a different thing. Okay? Let me give you an example. Okay? Let me give you an example. Let's consider, let me think. I can do this. Just give me a minute. Okay, let's consider these two sentences. Right, so consider these two sentences where here I am contrasting the use of the uncountable information and the use of the countable pieces of information. There is no difference in meaning between sentence 1 and sentence 2. It does not change the meaning in any way. These two sentences have exactly the same meaning, even though one of them uses an uncountable noun and the other one uses a countable noun. So the only difference, therefore, is form. And that's all countable, uncountable is. It's all about form. So there's no way of telling if it's countable or not. So you're asking for whys and hows. There's no whys and hows, Takeshi. I'm sorry, right? That's just what it is. There's no why, there's no how, it just is. So what you should do, Takeshi, is take note when you see something used in a countable or uncountable way, and you will start to associate a special feeling with words that are uncountable. And it's just a feeling about form. That's all. Also, you shouldn't worry too much about it, because when someone says, I've had some informations, it doesn't sound that bad, right? There are certain words where it does sound bad because they're so common, like the news. You should never say "a new." It's a bad Spanish translation to say, I've heard a new about this, right? I've heard some news, not a new. That sounds bad because it's such a common word. So with really common words, you should be a bit more careful. But in general, don't panic about that. It's just a question of form. It's the same as learning the correct preposition for a noun. It's the same as as learning the meaning of phrasal verbs. There's not a lot of logic. You just do it by exposure, experience, collocation, repetition, interest, vocabulary notebooks, and so on. All right. Hope that helps. That's not the case for everything, by the way, Takeshi. There are some things which you can learn using rules, but countable, uncountable nouns, for the most part, there's not a lot of rules to fall back on. But learning collocations can help, because the collocation itself can inform you if something is uncountable. For example, if we say there's a lot of information out there, I know that this is uncountable because I've used the singular form here. If this was countable, then we'd use the plural form there. Like you couldn't say there is a lot of, there's a lot of cup. There's a lot of cup to buy at the market. That makes no sense because cup is in fact countable. So we'd have to pluralize it. And by the way, we can still use there is a lot of cups. You don't need to say there are a lot of cups. I know that sounds weird, but it's because in English we have subject-verb agreement. The verb does not need to agree with the object. You may also say there are. That is also okay. There is and there are. It doesn't matter in this circumstance. A lot of people will say there is. There's a lot of cups at the market. But we do know that it is countable because we're pluralizing it. You cannot use it in the singular here. It doesn't sound right. So if you learnt this as a collocation, as a phrase that you put in your vocabulary notebook and you personalize and you talk about stuff, then hey, you've got it then. At least for information. Thank you very much, Pavia. That's a lovely comment. She says, Rich, I've always loved learning language from you. It's a different experience, like learning from someone who is a master of everything. Proud of being your student. Thank you so much, Pavia. That's a lovely, lovely thing to say. And actually, I've heard that recently from a few of my students as we come to the end of term 1 in the institution where I teach. That people, I am not a master of everything, but I try to be a bit of a Renaissance teacher, at least in that I try to teach a diverse range of subjects. Do we really need to learn about holidays on the beaches and words for family members and towns again? Maybe we could learn about dinosaurs and the pyramids and space travel. What do you think? I like to teach a diverse range of fascinating, interesting students. It's what I do. I'm all about engagement. I'm all about interest. I do my best. It's possible, Pavia. I'm not really a literature person, though. But I would have loved to have been... I would have loved to have the opportunity to teach a university course, my own university course. Probably philosophy, to be honest. But people teach philosophy like history. It's like the history of philosophy. I don't want to teach it like that. I want to teach it more like critical thinking and communication. Well, to be honest with you, Takeshi, I think that's the best way of... I think that's a better mistake. Like, if you're making the mistake of putting S at the end of everything, that's better than the alternative. Because a worse mistake is when someone tries to use something as uncountable when it's actually countable. It really doesn't work very well that way round. But if you pluralize it like informations and waters, it's not that bad, actually. Thank you very much, Julia. That's a lovely comment as well. Hands down, Teacher Rich is unique in his teaching methods. Really deserves to be, we really deserve to extol the virtue of his exceptional skills. I'm on the same page as you. I'm not unique. There's other people who try to do this as well. They do it in their own way. Okay. For example, shout out Jamie Keddy. Now, Jamie Keddy is a teacher trainer rather than a teacher so much now. So he's teaching teachers, which is probably why you might not have come across him, but he's out there doing his thing. He's the pioneer of dialogic storytelling, the method of communicative language teaching where you tell a story and interact. But he's a fascinating guy, and he inspired me hugely in my development as a teacher. So, yeah, he's got some great stuff. I've seen plenty of really interesting teachers over the time as well. University lecturers like Jordan B. Peterson. He's got some fantastic lectures out there. The late great, what's his name? The late great Ken Robinson, education reformer, powerful educator. Go and watch some of his TED Talks. The guy is absolutely brilliant. So there are people out there, you know, Mr. Rogers, the American TV educator. Again, the late great. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us, but he was fantastic at what he did. Michelle Thomas is another one. There's loads of them. You know, the great educators out there. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining me today. Take this opportunity now to smash that like button one final time. And I will, of course, see you on Wednesday. Homework is on our Discord server. Catch you later, folks. Have a lovely, lovely weekend. Enjoy yourself and get ready for this festive season. Bye for now.